Skype speaker hooked into my phone. There's Skype running on my phone. And I'm doing this from my iPad. Anyways, we're doing a whole lot of different stuff that we haven't done before. And it may not work out. If it goes dead, just, tell yourself, if you don't want to survive, don't listen to me, and come back next week. Anyway, I had a very eventful week. I got this phone, my very first smartphone. Before that, I just had a flip phone that, you open and talk to it, and there's no pictures, no text or anything like that. But my mom's friend got a smartphone, and it was only $40 a month, but they had a program where you can get it for $25 a month. And so my mom and I went down and bought 4 phones, one for her house phone, one for her cell phone, one for my brother, one for me, $25 a month through the Metro by T-Mobile. It's not a good service, and the phones are just regular phones. They're great, but anyways, my brother lives in Montgomery, Alabama, and we wanted him to not to go very long without a phone. So we went down to FedEx and told them we wanted to overnight this phone to them, and they said, okay, it was about $50 to overnight a phone to my brother. They gave us the paperwork, and we came home, and I guess the next day my mom called and said, did you check the tracking number to see if he got the phone? I said no, so I went and checked, and he had not got the phone. And in fact, it was saying that the phone was still sitting at the FedEx facility where we shipped it out. So the next day we did the same thing. Once again, it says it had not moved. My mom paid $50 to overnight this thing. And we knew that between my house and my brother's house, there was no snow, so that couldn't be the reason, but that was the reason. They said, because of the snow, we're not shipping anything. So somehow my mom was able to convince them to give the phone back. They were able to find it and bring it to her, but they would not refund her money. So they took $50 to overnight this phone to my brother, and they didn't overnight it. They didn't even send it at all, and they kept our $50. But I drove the phone to my brother's, like 4.5 hours from here to my brother's house, and I drove the phone to him. So I've been really, really busy for 2 days for no reason, and I didn't get anything else done. So anyways, that's going to be the basis of this greatest live stream on Earth today, is just me telling you stuff. Hopefully somebody has some questions that can get this rolling, because I really don't have anything else to talk about.
Well, there's a couple hellos. Patricia Ribrick says, hello, friends. And FC373 Sam says, Carlos here. He's saying hi to everyone.
Carlos.
Actually, isn't it Carlos or is it Carlos?
His is Carlos, but what's going on is when you talk to text thing in here, it never says Carlos. It always says Carlos. So it comes out as Carlos every time, unless you type it with your fingers.
Interesting. You know what though? I don't know. I'm looking at the live stream and the quality, it doesn't look that great. I mean, is there some more light you can turn on maybe in the room, or open a window?
Let's see here. I'll turn on some light. Oh, are you playing circus music over there?
Oh, it's my daughter practicing piano.
Oh, okay. Okay, there's all my light. Oh. Are we bad enough that you think you should probably maybe go ahead and host this and let me turn it off? And
well, I'm not quite sure it would be that much better, but it almost seems like it's something about your video. You're doing it from your iPad right now?
Yes, I would show you, but I don't have my camera on.
Yeah.
So what should we do?
There's another hello from Taboom Blue. He says,
oh, wait a second. I know probably. Hold on. Let me make sure this. I got this other. What about the audio quality? Were you hearing me over YouTube?
Yeah, it's not as nice as over Skype.
Oh my goodness. What do you think? You're the tech guy. Tell me what you think.
Well, I mean, it's still coming over still coming a little, no, it's still not the greatest.
Okay, let's do it. Let's do it from your end. Let's try doing it from your end.
Yeah.
So I should turn on Skype on this end, right?
Well, I mean, we would have to start the whole stream over again. But you know what I'm almost suspecting is that it just seems like it's a little low light in your room. If you can carry it, can you carry it over to your front porch, or you want to do it from your room?
Yeah, well, you know what? Yes, I can carry it over to my front porch. So let's just try that.
Yeah, just carry it down and let's see if the video improves that way.
Let's see if I can do this without breaking my iPad. Oh,
like a walk and talk. You'll be doing a walk and talk.
Hey, welcome to the only source of information you need to not only survive the current apocalypse, but actually enjoy it. Oh my God.
Maybe we can go stand by your car outside.
Oh my God, I know. I'm in my underwear. I can't go out there.
You being in your underwear never scared you before, so actually, in your underwear makes you a little bit more dressed than usual, I guess.
Yeah, well, I'm actually wearing thermal underwear, so it's not the same as like real underwear. Okay, I'm gonna go shut my door and we'll get started again.
Actually, yeah, the video looks a little bit better there. There's a little bit more light.
Okay. Yeah, well, that's one of the things that I really like this. I got a music stand, or a microphone stand that has a special attachment for iPads. You know, musicians, they're just like the rest of us. They can't remember the words or the music, and sometimes they'll use their iPad, and they have these rigs on them, on their microphone stands.
Well, it looks like it looks a lot better now than it was there. Jaboom Blue says, "I'm here, brother." Bob G says, "Hi all. We missed last week, and it's good to see you." Terry Burns says, "Good morning. Hope you're keeping warm." And Sandra Bagdoka says that the problem she thinks with your video was backlight. It wasn't good because you had like the light coming from there and says,
"Oh yeah. It was pointing
like, behind you."
You know what? That's why this music stand. I may get a taller microphone stand. This is something, I think this was for a guy on a drum kit. I got it at Goodwill for like $2, but it's a professional. It's got the big, really, really big threaded thing on the end of it, and that's what's holding us up. But yeah, Sandra is the lady that's going to help us with our Expat video. For everybody that's out there.
Oh yeah.
We are, Ala Toledo, along with Shannon, have moved out of the country and become what's called expats. That's expatriates. And so a while back I was doing a video. I was watching videos about truck campers, and I came across the Adventures of Sandra and Dave. It's a YouTube channel, very good one. Really liked it. I watched everything they had about truck campers, but then they started talking about where they went. So they went down into Mexico, and they were going to move to Mexico. So I asked Sandra, who seems to be the one that keeps the channel going, if her and her husband, or just her, or however, would like to join me and Ala Toledo and Shannon in talking about why they moved and how their lives have changed since they moved, how they feel about the move, and so hopefully we'll start that series next week. This week we have nothing. It's just, like the title says, the greatest live stream on Earth. But that's only for today, because next week's live stream will be better than this one.
Well, Sandra says you look much prettier with the light on your face. And then Patricia Ribrick says that she finds when she goes onto Zoom that she's not so ugly if she puts the light behind her. So I don't know if that means she doesn't want to show her face that way. Jim Blue says, let's talk about all that's happening in the world. Is God shaking up all the things to show us that's going to be shaken? So, I don't know, any current events? What do you think about what's happening in Texas?
What happened in Texas?
All the power outage and the snow and the cold.
Okay, yeah, that's terrible. Next subject.
I guess they didn't bother you too much. What else is going on in the world? I guess.
Today we've got a new president.
I mean, there's some planes.
We've got a new president.
Oh yes. Well,
and guess what? You know what the last guy said? Let's make America great again. I think this guy, his thing was let's make America more betterer one more time again. So this is even better than the last guy.
Actually, you know what? Actually, in all seriousness, you know what Trump's message was America first, and apparently Biden came out and said, no, we can't say that because that's too nationalistic. And so he said, we'll change it. We'll say country first. So his significant change between Trump's policy and his was going from America first to country first.
Wow, that's horrible. I mean, that's great. I like country music, so country first, yeah, that's cool. But what about rock and roll? Is rock and roll second, or are they sharing first place? I don't get it.
Yeah. Funny guy. Let's see. Jarvis Pennyworth says, can you talk more about the Antichrist?
I think he was asking that question last week on last week's live stream. I think after it was posted, he went up and said, "Can we talk more about the Antichrist?" And okay, scripturally there is no Antichrist. The word Antichrist is used in its plural form in the Bible, just meaning anyone against Christ. So now that we've got this new understanding that Jesus is Adam and that Jesus is our eternal Father, we can understand that all of the fathers that came since then, all the presidents, kings, emperors, prime ministers, popes, all of those folks are false fathers because none of them can be the father of everyone on earth. Only Adam could do that, or one of those sons of God that lived back far enough in the distant past to be in every one of our DNAs. So there is an individual spoken of that is unique, and then throughout the whole Bible we've got this war between Satan and God, or between Satan and Jesus, between the father of civilization and the biological father of humanity. And so there is a verse that says that Jesus Christ cannot come back, return to earth. You know, Christ returns, a big part of the Bible, until the man of lawlessness is revealed. And it uses the word man, you know, the Greek word anthropos, or which is the word we get the word anthropology from. It is man, human, the human of lawlessness. And I really think that that's supposed to be Satan in the flesh once again. It could be said that any Antichrist would be Satan in the flesh, anyone who wanted to rule over the earth in place of our father Adam, who is Jesus, and they would all be Antichrist. But supposedly it seems like there is one individual who is this man, singular, of lawlessness. So that's coming up. Some human who is probably Satan in the flesh will take over rulership of the earth before Jesus returns. That makes sense? So here I have been talking about this guy Jared Kushner for a long time. Insanely evil. He was doing all kinds of fantastic stuff for the government, and I just knew he was the Antichrist. I've never had that feeling about anybody else. You know, a lot of these patriots thought that Barack Obama was the Antichrist, and then of course everybody who hates Trump thinks he's the Antichrist. But his son-in-law, Jared, is like one of the richest young people on the planet, and well, he just turned 40. He turned 40 in January. I thought for sure when he had his 40th birthday that there would be some big thing happen, because I never could figure out why they would have this 1 year off of work that they're doing. You know, the COVID-19 pandemic shutdown. That's basically just another satanic sabbatical. So it's a time when everyone is supposed to rest for a year, and we're doing that now. So I figured, okay, once the rest is done, Jared will take his proper place as ruler of the earth. Well, that apparently is not happening. I don't see anything going on that would indicate that this guy is about to take over this Earth one world government. This doesn't seem like it's going to happen. So that's all I got. I can't think of any. I look at all of the politicians who are ruling now. You know, you have to think, who is the most powerful man on Earth? Well, according to the fairy tales of civilization, the most powerful man on Earth right now is Joe Biden, but he's mentally retarded. He has Down syndrome, and he's got whatever other schizophrenia and Alzheimer's and dementia. I mean, the guy is really kind of just really, really retarded. That's not what the Antichrist is supposed to be. You know, the Antichrist is going to solve all the world's problems, right? I don't see a really elderly person that can't think straight solving all the world's problems. So has anybody else out there got an idea of who the
Another
Antichrist...
hello comes from...
I'm sorry. Excuse me.
Yeah, so first comes a hello from S. Coulter.
Hello.
Says, hey guys and gals. And then speaking about the Antichrist, Sandra says, doesn't Satan mean division and Christ means one?
You look, in every language, there's words that end up meaning different things. Like Satan is where we get the word Saturn. It eventually came to that. And Saturn's where we get the word Sabbath, you know, so the rest. And so they all mean different things. But I guess, like in the very beginning, the ruler of Egypt, the very first empire prior to the flood, was Satan. And Egypt means like a division. You know, it's like the Straits is what it means. So you like the Straits of Hormuz or the Straits of Gibraltar. It's an area where you're squeezed into a small space. But it could also mean enemy. Satan means opposer, Satan, you know, Satan. And the word daemon, which is where we get demon, that, you know, it's the same thing. And then you got devil, diabolos, it's also an enemy or divider, one who divides. And that's what, I guess, part of the Straits is it divides the people. This Straits divides the people. So that's what Satan does. Christ, it's where we actually get the word Crisco from, you know, the shortening. They were going to call it Christos, which is the Latin and Greek word for Christ, which means anointed or oil. And so the Crisco Oil Company was going to call their stuff Christos oil, and they thought, well, probably some preachers would get mad, their product would fail, so they changed it to Crisco. But Christ is, it's kind of, I haven't seen it described as one before, but it is like a unifying, you know how the Holy Spirit comes on a person, they would pour oil on people to indicate they were the king. And so that oil is like Holy Spirit, so it's like one with the Holy Spirit. Really is, but it just means anointed or chosen. I think chosen comes from the word Christ.
Next hello comes from Matt Hall. He says, hi all. And then speaking, going back to about the Antichrist and such, Jaboom Blue says, the death stroke healed. Isn't that the League of Nations changing over to the UN? And Matt Hall kind of chimes in and says he agrees it could be something with the United Nations.
I think the Worldwide Church of God says the same thing. I know the Jehovah's Witnesses do. I was a Jehovah's Witness for 15 years. Also, I think the Seventh-day Adventists say that, but I'm not sure. I mean, there's this idea has come into our belief system. I mean, you know, if you look at the book of Revelation, which is where all this is found, it looks like this. We're so used to hearing about the seven-headed beast and the seven-headed dragon and how that's like all the world rulers. Each head represents a king, like the first king, Egypt, Assyria, Phoenicia, Greece, Rome, England, and the U.S. That's the seven-headed beast. And it seems to make sense. But I really believe the seven-headed beast is, well, everything in Revelation is about celestial phenomenon. And then you think about what is sevens. Well, we got 12 constellations, so you always see 12s in the book of Revelation, but also you see a lot of sevens in the book of Revelation. And the seven would be the planets that are visible from the Earth. You know, we know now that Pluto's not a planet, and the other planets are like coming from the sun. You got Mercury, Venus, and then Earth, which isn't counted because Earth is where we are. We can see Mercury and Venus, and then past us is Mars, and then Jupiter and Saturn, and after Saturn is Uranus and Neptune. And so those are the seven. and those are the 7 gods, the 7 eunuchs, the 7 wise men, the 7 storytellers. Every culture has this story about 7s, and all of those gods are named after the planets. And in fact, I think Plato or one of them said that the gods are the planets. And so every culture names their planets the same as they name their top 7 gods. So it makes me think that, you know, the whole story about the beast and it kind of looks like the United Nations, but I really think everything in Revelation is celestial. It's not really about nations, and it's not about the United Nations, and it's not about the League of Nations. You know, that you think about it, the League of Nations was formed before World War I, and it was designed to bring peace to mankind. Well, what happened? World War I broke out, and the League of Nations was just put off. You know, they put it off as it's because it failed. And so the League of Nations came back. All the same people, the same nations, everything, and they formed the United Nations, which is basically a resurrecting of the League of Nations. And the whole thing is it was supposed to bring world peace, and as soon as it was founded and started getting involved in world politics, that's when World War I broke out. So that's how successful the League of Nations was. And it's basically how successful the United Nations is now, since taking over rulership of the earth in some kind of way. The United Nations has sat on its throne for like 1 million wars, millions of deaths. But here's the thing: as above, so below, right? Don't we say that like every week? So all the stuff in the Bible about celestial phenomenon is basically about stuff that happens here on Earth as well.
Couple more hellos. One Last Chance says, good morning from Montana. Kitchcool says, hey guys. Let's see, next is Shannon. He says, greetings from Hungary. Sorry I'm late. I never got the notification. Food and Water Music says, Joe Biden's just acting dumb. He's not really dumb. You know, acting like this keeps him safe. And then Marie Miller, not really related, but just jokes, that says that you look like you're in the witness protection program at the moment.
Well, you know what? If another really brilliant statesman would be George Bush Jr. He's a brilliant man. He just seemed like he's stupid, right? Just seems like he's stupid. No, he's really stupid. He's had plenty of time. He's had plenty of time to redeem himself. Every time they interview him, he still comes across as stupid.
Next comes from Sandra. She says, have you ever seen the World Economic Forum's propaganda about this upcoming Great Reset? They have everything detailed out about how the world's going to be changing.
Yeah, I haven't seen anything about it, but a lot of subscribers were telling me the Great Reset is coming, and I'm like, they don't even know. The Great Reset is going to be a whole lot more than just fixing the economy. But look, the Bible says that in the last days, or right before the last days, that Lord Satan would fix everything. You know, that whenever it is that they are crying true peace and security, that is when destruction shall come upon them in an instant. That's like 1 Thessalonians somewhere, I think. But there's also all of the scriptures we hear about world peace, where it says the lamb shall reside with a lion, and the lamb shall reside with the wolf, and a baby will sit over the hole of a cobra, and all that kind of stuff. That's not about what's going to happen after the resurrection. That's what's going to happen before the resurrection. So, you know, people are going to get in their heads, just like they're doing now. You know, these people that participate in politics, they'll vote for a guy who's going to fix everything. And then when their politician gets in, they go, look, everything is fixed. I got so tired of hearing all of these Trump supporters talking about how, look, the world economy works now. There's no more wars. Everybody has food. And I'm looking around, nothing changed. Nothing changed, but these people got in their head that there's true peace and security. Well, they got rid of Trump and put another one in. Now all the people that supported that guy believe in this stuff. I don't remember any politician having this kind of effect on people. I mean, you look at it like, oh yeah, well, Trump cleaned out the swamp. How? It's like everybody who was a politician before he was elected is still a politician. How did he clean up the swamp? It's people believe in all kinds of stupid stuff.
Let's see, there's a comment from Mana from Father Ministries. Trina says, please be careful with the term as above, so below. That is with the satanic church. That is what the satanic church lives their lives by. God bless you. I'm not sure what she means by that.
No, that is. It's part of the satanic. Satanists believe that, as above, so below. They say it all the time, which is weird. They mimic so many things. You know, when you read the Our Father, this is Matthew chapter 6, verses 9 through, I think 12 or something. It says the people approached him and asked us, how should we pray? And he said, pray then this way, Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. So as above, so below, which is basically what that means. So it's a big part of what's taught in the Bible, as above, so below. But it's you kind of wonder if perhaps this as above, so below thing that the Satanists use is it's like everything in the Bible. Everything that the Satanists teach is basically a version of what's taught in the Bible. You know, the all-seeing eye on the back of the dollar bill is the eye of God. Well, according to the Bible, that's the eye of Satan. But the Bible does. At 1 John chapter 5 and verse 19, it says we know that we are from God. We are created by God. But the whole world is lying under the power of the wicked one, who is Satan. So civilization itself right now, the whole world, the whole in Greek it's cosmos. The whole cosmos is under the power of the wicked one. Well, cosmos means civilization. It doesn't mean planet Earth. I mean, it does mean planet Earth also. But when you see that verse, and it says the whole world is lying in the power of the wicked one, what that means is all of civilization is under the power of the wicked one. You know, and what is civilization populated with? By those who are created by God. So it's 1 John 5:19 that says, we know we were created by God, but we're ruled by Satan. And so the true ruler of the earth is God. Satan is an illegitimate ruler who has destroyed all of our Father's natural resources to make stuff. So cars, laptops, roads, houses, all of that stuff. Adam and Eve were never told to do that. And yet here we are, you know, in a world where almost all living things have been relinquished to the fossil record, and pretty much everything that's here now is dead. Just dead stuff, furniture, appliances, things like that. The living things have been destroyed in order to make room for those things.
Yeah, food and water. Music says there's another expression, as without, so within. And then Sandra says, I guess, do as thou wilt is sort of anything goes. Whatever you can get away with, go for it.
Yeah, that's been done to in the Genesis account. It says that, what does it say? Man was put into the forest in order to, what does it say? Have in subjection the birds of the air, the fish of the sea, and the animals of the land. And so if you read that same word that's translated as subjection is like the word that's parents have in subjection your children. It's the same word. So the empire says, hey, the animals belong to us. Let's make meat, and let's make fur coats, and let's cut down the trees and make some houses. You know, would you cut up your babies to make meat or to build houses? It's the same word is used. That word have subjection of the birds, the fish, and the land animals. It's about caring for them. And in fact, there's a verse that said Adam was put into the forest in order to dress and keep the forest. Well, that's not really true. What it says there, in actual Hebrew, it says man was put into the forest in order to care for the forest so that the forest would care for the man. That's what it says, literally, word for word. That's what the Hebrew says, that man was put into the forest to care for it in order that the forest would care for the man. And see, we're doing exactly the opposite, as above, so below. And this, you know, what Sandra said about, you know, do as thou wilt. Basically, that's what we're talking about, is killing everything and turning it into houses. We were getting away with it. Seemingly, humanity is getting away with that. We're not getting away with it. We're all dying because of it. And soon, everyone is going to die, except for those of us who have been put here to act as observers. I really believe that.
And discernment file says he's been alive 60 years and things have only been progressively getting worse.
Yeah, I think over time. I mean, the Earth was horrible when I was born, 58 years ago, and I guess if I was a thinking man back then, I would say this is it. This is the end of the world. It can't get any worse than this. But now I look at it, and I mean, racism is at an all-time high. Wars are actually at an all-time high. Starvation's at an all-time high. Physical labor, people are having to work longer, harder hours. And over time, even though people make much more money than they did back 60 years ago, the money they make doesn't go as far because things cost so much. It's just ridiculous how horrible the world is now. People look at the Great Depression as like the worst thing in American history. The average income now for the average person is less than it was during the Depression. So people are suffering. Everything about this world is this horrible. They're telling people, people can look around and see human suffering, and they don't do anything about it. But then they can be told that there's a disease, and people look around and they see a disease, even though there's none there. Nothing's changed. Nothing in my world has changed. I've heard people say that their relatives died of this plague that's, killing off mankind. But when you look into it, all of the people were dying of something else. And they went in the hospital to die, and they said, well, since there's a pandemic going on, we'll just say they died from the pandemic. That's bizarre. That's bizarre. And people believe in this stuff. They believe in the weirdest stuff. When a country over on the other side of the planet, they don't have running water or electricity, and they say this is a national security threat. I'm like, how? How is that a national security threat? How are they going to get here? But it doesn't matter. People volunteer their children to go overseas and murder those people's children. It's bizarre.
Another hello comes from Rick Ballard. He says, howdy everyone. Just came in to the house from the ice and snow, but the car tire has air in it again. Going back to the Antichrist and who that is, there's a few comments regarding that. Jarvis Pennyworth says, was Satan in human form at one point, like Adam? Patricia Ribrick says, Satan is an internal force in humans. We also have the opposing force, which we turn to for help. And then Carlos says, couldn't the Antichrist be a woman? Remember Osiris lost his penis? Finally, Matt Hall says, and what are your views on Genesis 4 when the Lord tells Adam to eat the food of the field?
I don't really have an opinion about that. I mean, always from the beginning, Adam and Eve, all the sons of God and the women created from the sons of God, they all were told to eat fruits and leaves. They were never told to eat the actual plants. In other words, you could harvest stuff as long as it didn't damage the plant. And they were never told they could eat meat until after the flood. When Adam was told to eat produce of the field, it's not like, well, there was a curse, right? It was given to Adam, and it was then later given to Cain. And that curse was that you would, by the sweat of your brow, you would bring forth food. And that eventually took place. I mean, you look at it, Cain was growing agricultural crops before he killed his brother. And who all else was asking questions? Somebody, Carlos was saying that couldn't an Antichrist be a woman? And I've answered this before, whereas I said I don't think so. I think all of the pronouns that are associated with the Antichrist or the man of lawlessness are male gender, but that's not necessarily true. And could Satan himself have been a man? It's possible, but if you say he was a man, you're actually going against the Bible because it says he was a serpent. So it's really weird. All of these cultures around the world have stories of the serpent god mating with humans and making offspring, these hybrid offspring. I don't see that. I think that Adam and Eve reproduced Cain, Abel, and Seth. It says that very clearly, that Eve got pregnant from Adam. And yet Cain is spoken of also as the son of Satan. So it may be that there's something else going on here, like, intercourse. Adam had intercourse with Eve, that sexual intercourse with Eve. Cain was born as a result. Satan also had intercourse with Eve, but the word intercourse can also mean discussion. So it wasn't so much that Eve gave birth to a child who was biologically an offspring of Satan, but like a spiritual offspring of Satan. Just like there's a lot of verses in the Bible about people being the children of someone when obviously they're not. It's like Jesus. Jesus was a child of Joseph. Well, no, he wasn't. Biologically, he was not related to Joseph at all, but he's called the son of Joseph, and so, or the child of Joseph. And so if we look at all the stories that are about like adoptions or about children by tradition, children by adoption, children by biology, it's almost like Satan really was a snake, or could have been a, the word is like reptile. And so when you get to the end of the Bible, it doesn't call him a reptile, it calls him a dracoon, which is translated, into our word dragon. Dragon is like dinosaur. So it's possible that Satan could have been anything, could have been a pterodactyl or a T-Rex or any kind of a reptile. If those, in fact, were reptiles, we really don't know what they were. We just found their bones. It's hard to say. We never saw one alive. But yeah, Satan, it says that down the great dragon was hurled, the original Satan, the devil. And he came down with great anger, knowing he has a short time to live. So, I don't think that Satan was a fleshly human, but maybe so. It's hard to say. I mean, there's a time when the languages were confused, at the Tower of Babel after the flood. So it's possible that prior to the Tower of Babel incident, that Eve was actually able to have a conversation with a serpent. Maybe the reptiles who went extinct had the ability to talk just like people. I don't know. I don't want to seem wishy-washy, but it's just a fact that we're not given a whole lot of details. If you read the Genesis account, Satan was, for a fact, a cold-blooded reptile. And he was not the biological father of Cain, but according to the New Testament, he was the father of Cain in some way.
A couple more hellos or quick comments. Mountain Truth 1D says there's a cascade effect with Romans 1. Many have lost their ability to reason in today's world. And then Grant Bennett 333 says the earth is flat and dinosaurs are fake. Next thing about the Antichrist, there's a bunch of people talking about it being artificial intelligence or technology. So first comes from Steve Ladner. He says AI is going to run the world in the future, in his opinion. Technology is dumbing people down because we depend on it too much. And then Rorschach says, Rorschach, I think our Antichrist is artificial intelligence and it's taking form. And then Sandra says, for a second I thought that the internet would be used to make everyone smarter, but no. And then, like, she gives an example. Have you ever read about Ted Kaczynski, the Unabomber's Manifesto? He discusses very smartly technology and how it's destroying us.
Yeah, well, a lot of times prior to me trimming my beard and all, I was accused of being that guy, the Unabomber, but Kaczynski. And a lot of times when I write things, people compare what I write to Kaczynski. I'm like, okay, well, maybe. But yeah, this unifying force, which is what the internet is, it could easily be considered like the Antichrist. Who knows? There's so little information in the Bible, and if you go outside of the Bible, there really isn't that much information outside of the Bible, like the Holy Quran and other ancient books from that time. The Book of Enoch, the lost books of the Bible, the Deuterocanonicals and Apocrypha. You really don't get a good picture of exactly what went on when at the very beginning, when humanity was tricked into this legalism, this covenant agreement between Eve and Satan. Not enough information. I mean, I'd love to take a stand if I could see, just like with Carla saying that it's maybe this Antichrist could be female, because if you look at the other stories, always there's a story of the serpent impregnating the woman without a penis. It's like, why would that story be in there? And so you think, well, it could be a woman, or it could be another species, like it had like a serpent. Have you ever seen a penis on a snake? You don't see it, so that might be why that's going on. But I mean, I can't take a stand that it is a woman or it is a man. All I can say is there are possibilities for both. You know, one is like greater possibility that it's a man as far as to a woman. But then again, think about it. Adam wasn't male or female. Androgynous. It says that in the beginning, God created Adam, and he said, let us make Adam in our image, male and female, let's make Adam. But then shortly after that, Eve was taken out of Adam. You know, he removed the rib. So then at that point, Adam becomes male, and Heve becomes female. Heve being the ancient Hebrew word for egg, like huevos. So that's basically, you know, that maybe Satan the devil was still male and female at the time when this took place. Who knows?
Sandra brings up a question, since you're talking about Adam and everything. Who is Lilith?
I always thought that Lilith was the same as Eve, even though she's like separate from Eve. Okay, in the beginning it says there were the sons of God and the daughters of men. Plural, sons of God, plural, daughters of men. Well, that's what it actually means is the children of God, and the females made from the children of God. That's because it's built, the word daughters at that verse, which I think is Bath, B-A-T-H, Bath. I think that means humans built from man. So you had the humans built from Adam, and then, or Adam, which was a human that was built, and then Eve was built from Adam, but there were also other sons of God and other daughters of men. Now, as far as who was a wife, I don't believe there was any such thing as a wife back then. I mean, sexual mate, maybe. Did Adam have other women? Probably every woman on earth. You think about it, he lived for 900 years. How many women could there have been? You know, over the course of time, he probably had romantic or sexual interaction with all of those women. There would be no reason not to. I mean, there wasn't any prohibition against it. The only prohibition that exists in our day, that, you know, one man, one woman, that's covenant law. That has nothing to do with the Bible. The Bible never says one man, one woman for life. So, yeah, there could have been other human females or compatible mates that Adam was involved with, and Lilith may have been one of those. But, I mean, the stories about Lilith were created, like, probably during the 3rd or 4th century A.D. This is 4,000 years after the event. You know, so they could have just been a complete fabrication. It's a possibility. There's enough people that believe in Lilith that I think that maybe it was a real person at one time, and it wasn't Eve. But who knows?
Politicians and the antichrist. There's several comments regarding that. Food and Water Music says a politician can be much more convincing than a Hollywood actor because politicians don't even have to try. And Sandra says, have you ever heard of Aleister Crowley? He was big into the as above, so below, and do as thou wilt. Shannon says George Bush either was a post-turtle, quote unquote a post-turtle.
Oh, yeah. Hey, look.
Post-turtle has no idea where he is. Or...
Hold on, let me see. Yeah. I'm doing something over here, Alan Toledo. Say something.
Okay.
Something I speak. We're having a really horrible, the audio coming through is just like really, really like overdriven, loud, scratchy noise.
Yeah, it kind of is, yeah. Can you hear me there, or no?
Let's just answer okay, let's talk about, maybe it'll straighten itself out. It's probably something to do with my internet. Let's talk about Aleister Crowley, yeah. Carlos is the guy that's always telling me about Aleister Crowley because he kind of read all of the, you know, he's been watching YouTube videos about him and read a bunch of stuff. I think it was Jimmy Page from Led Zeppelin. He owns Aleister Crowley's house now because he was into all that mysticism and Satanism and stuff back in the day as part of his, you know, persona. But yeah, Aleister Crowley is like one of those weird characters who's given a lot more. He's either given a lot more credit for being like the ruler of Satanism, or he's not given enough credit as, you know, this guy that's like really powerful into Satanism. But yeah, he's always with that, us above, so below comes from that. And in fact, that, I mean, that's the thing Carlos has told me several times. So, you know, the guy was messed up, but I don't think he's anywhere. You know, to me, if you tell people you worship Satan and then you try to perpetuate the rules of Satan, like one man, one woman forever, which is a satanic covenant, or, you know, how to use money, or how to light the right number of black candles and dance around them, and all that silliness. Well, is that the worst thing a man can do, or would it be worse to be like the preacher at a Baptist church telling people the same nonsense? You know, Aleister Crowley will tell you these rules come from Lord Satan. A Baptist preacher will tell you the same rules and say they come from God. God never gave man the rules of civilization. The Bible is very clear that Satan is the ruler of civilization. I kind of got lost on what the other questions were.
About what politicians and antichrist and such.
What did you say? I cannot hear you. Test. Back at you.
Can't.
Hey, I can read this here. No, it's doing terrible. I can relate to. I feel God has taken them from my midst. Oh, it's gone. Okay, that was discernment files left a comment. I can actually see these things. I probably should have put my internet glasses on, and I might be able to read them all the way through from a decent distance. That way people don't have to be looking in my ear as I'm trying to read these comments coming across. Say something, or you...
Can you hear me now?
It's terrible. It's terrible. Test, terrible. I think that this is a good time to stop our 1 hour live stream at 1 hour and 47 minutes. That's what we're going to do. Can you hear me? Just say, nod your head.
Yep, sounds good, yep.
Okay. I can't hear if you're really, which direction you're nodding. Okay. Food and water music. I hope it wasn't me. Yeah, okay. Well, anyways, look, I'm serious about, we're going to do this expat video. So if you are someone who has left your country to move to another country because of whatever reason, you know, when someone moves out of their homeland, it has to be for some serious reason, because that's a big move to make. If you're one of those people, let me know, and I'll get with you during the week, and we'll go over a few questions. We want to start putting this all together, like... next week. And another thing that's going on is, okay, I think I had told about 6 different people that as soon as I got done with the Melchizedek series, I would get with you and talk to you on Skype, because there are people that just want to talk about a whole lot of stuff that I can't be typing it all onto text messages. And I'm not going to make videos about these particular subjects. And there's people that have said things to me that touch my heart. And I've told all of you how to get in touch with me, what my Skype name is, what my email address is. And so all of you people that I told that to, Melchizedek is done, and I am free. And I don't even really remember how many of you I told that to. But if you're anybody that's really, really wants to talk to me, I am open for conversation. From here until summertime, probably. So just let me know, send me a message, and we will hook up and talk. So those are the only 2 big announcements for the channel. We're going to be working on an expat video series, which is probably going to end up being 4 parts, starting next Sunday, hopefully. We're going to work on this technology stuff. Okay, so there must be some... we're going to be working on our technology. Again, you know, Ala Toledo is like, sometimes he's in America and sometimes he's in Mexico, and so depending on where he is, he has to do things a completely different way. And we're going to, I can't even remember, we're going to talk about expat videos, and we're going to talk to people. I'm going to talk to people on Skype. So just, if you're any of those people that wanted to talk to me on Skype, if you're anyone who has moved from your country, homeland into another country, please get in touch with me. Oh, well, that's it for this week's live stream. Sorry everything went wrong again. I don't know how these people, there are people out there making live streams every day, and they never have an issue like this. I do not know why it always happens to us, but we're working on it, and we're praying about it, and hopefully things will straighten out. Oh, well, love y'all, and if you don't want to survive, as always, if you don't want to survive, don't listen to me.